Live from a dilapidated storage unit on the outskirts of Montgomery, Alabama, it's FFS with me, Jessica Michelle Singleton. We're here. We did it. We made it another week. My God, we're still alive. How unfortunate. It's great to be back, guys. Listen, a lot has transpired since the last time I saw you, which was never. I don't see you. I look into a camera. But I spoke at you. That was fun. Getting a lot of fun feedback about the first episode. Really loving it. By the way, gentle reminder, send clips to ffswithjms@gmail.com or quips or questions or anything. Send it to that email address. If for some reason you have a different email address that you think is mine, please God, stop sending things there. That's all. That's the whole episode. Goodbye. Listen. This past weekend, I traveled for the first time by airplane with Nate, my boyfriend, my partner. Big step, airplane travel. You learn a lot about a person when you travel with them by plane, or you learn that you don't have much more to learn about that person. I guess it varies from situation to situation, but I think a lot of us are most stressed when we travel. I'd like to say myself included, but I seem to be more stressed when there's absolutely no stakes and no reason to be stressed than I am during times when I should be. No, that's not true. I'm just stressed all the time. Who am I kidding? But it went well. I don't know. I think there's a lot of differences in how people travel. There's the people who like to get to the airport extremely early, and there's the people who really like to time it so they walk in and walk up to the gate. And to those people, I say, may you be alone forever. And rotten hell, I never want to travel with you. That's a nightmare. Luckily, I feel like neither of us were on the extreme end of that. I definitely lean toward go super early versus like if airport timing is a spectrum, we'll say. It's not, no one's super early and no one's super last minute. I definitely lean more to let's get there early. But also, that's been validated in my, in my years of travel. I've learned a lot. And more importantly, I relatively recently, within the last 2 years, acquired a credit card that gets me into airport lounges. And let me tell you, if you are a frequent traveler and you are not taking advantage of an airport lounge, you're fucking up. I'm a big Delta lady. I do other airlines sometimes, but I just made my way to medallion status, not to brag. And the Delta Lounge is a new Delta Lounge inside of LAX. They have the old one. There's a new one. This is probably so boring for people who don't travel. But I really brought Nate into the Delta Lounge as if I owned the lounge and I had somehow worked hard enough to create the lounge myself and showed it off like it's the greatest achievement of my life. And is it? Maybe. Maybe the greatest thing I've ever done is be allowed to access a Delta Lounge. He was not that impressed because he's been inside a lounge before, I guess. But it felt like he was a little impressed, but wanted to pretend he wasn't impressed because he's like, I travel all the time. I get it. Did he get embarrassed when I tried to show him how to log in, clock in, enter? You have to like scan your card. He wasn't embarrassed that I showed him. He's embarrassed that I looked at oh no. Sorry, I can't. The audio monitoring is on the TV in front of me. You guys don't even know what that means. But later when we listen to clips and look at clips, they're projected on a TV in front of me. And right now I can see the monitor, and because we're moving through the show, because I'm talking, the audio went away because it moved forward, and I thought the whole show had dropped. So if it sounded like I said, oh no, for no reason, I did. I had nothing wrong, went wrong, but I don't know what to tell you. Nate has now pulled up a piece of paper, a blank thing to cover the screen. So I stopped panicking. It's because I looked at the lady running the check-in and I was like, he's a first timer. And he was so mortified. But like he was a first timer in the Delta Lounge. So he's like, yeah, I've been to the American Lounge. It's not the same. It's incredible. There are there's a whole like selection of tasty hot foods. There are showers in there, which I guess is like, I don't know, if you're flying between, that feels more like a long layover stop in my opinion. But I guess if you're a frequent traveler, you get somewhere and you have to be at your meeting, your event, and there's not really an in-between time to shower, which actually, now that I'm saying that, I'm realizing is me a lot of the times with my first show of the week when I'm on the road. I just throw my shit down at the hotel, especially if it's on the East Coast because of timing, and then have to run. Yeah, damn. I don't know though. Showering in the Delta Lounge, that's a I just, you ever like just go in a regular airport bathroom, there's someone brushing their teeth, and like that's probably really normal, but I see that and I go, just stink until you get home. What are you fucking brushing your teeth in there's people farting everywhere and you're worried about your teeth? Like, who's picking you up? The fucking Prince of Princeville? I don't know where I was going with that, but I go back and forth between like, I don't go back and forth. I look like shit whenever I travel, but then you see someone in like that matches their luggage and you're like, oh, they planned their travel outfit. Apparently, according to Nate in the men's room, there's always someone shaving in the airport, which is like, how fast does your hair grow? Why don't you just shave before you get on the plane, you fucking idiot? I will say though, if times were ever tough, like things really hit rock bottom, I'm gonna live in my car and frequent the Delta Lounge. That will be my plan. Fuck this, like, I had a gym membership. No, I'm just going to be a vagabond that travels and start a travel blog where people go like, God, she like does such luxurious things. And it's because I'm just living in Delta Lounges. Yeah. We went to a wedding. I just put the microphone down and be like, am I allowed to talk about going to a wedding? Nate and I went to a wedding for someone in his family. I met some of his family members. They're all wonderful people. It was super fun. It was in this tiny town in Colorado, which I've never been to a winter wedding. Have I? No, which from a picture standpoint, I understand. Very beautiful. From a human existing in the world and having the opinion that cold weather is terrible, which is not everyone's opinion, I thought it was an interesting choice. Gorgeous bride, gorgeous dress. It's always like, you never know what you're gonna get meeting your significant other's family members, and my bar's always like, I don't want to say the bar is low. I want to say I'm pretty open-minded because I'm aware that they might have to meet my family members someday, and it can't be any more horrifying than someone meeting my immediate family. But I don't know. I think I worry unnecessarily maybe in those situations. I interact with people for a big part of my living, so it's easy to meet people. I feel, I don't know. I guess it's just like nice when you meet the people who are important to the person you're dating and feel like you vibe with them immediately, which I did. I felt it was easy to talk to. I didn't feel uncomfortable. Do you ever get rid of that fear that like, has that been implanted by movies where it's like this nightmare mother or like character that's going to be like my whatever? Does anyone else have that? I guess I just think especially because I'm a comedian and I openly have stuff on the internet now, which is a whole different level, that's like dirty or whatever, that people are going to meet me and have either been told that or they've watched some of that and have an assumption about the kind of person I am, which they may, but like in a way that can't be overcome by my actual existence as a human in front of them, where they just see me through the lens of a clip they saw about me talking about, I don't know, my pussy. But I'm finding more and more that's a mostly irrational fear, or everyone I meet is just pretending to be like, you're not so bad. And then I leave and they're like, nah, the clip's too much. But all this to say, I hate everything that I've already said to you. And by the way, I don't know how many episodes I'm going to get 10 minutes in and go, I fucking hate this, but I guess that's being alive. I forgot, as someone who grew up going to Catholic church half-assedly, it was like Christmas, Easter, and then in stints where my mom was like manically trying to keep up an image that I don't know what you're trying to keep up, but we're pretending we're a happy, good Catholic family. Like, who is this for, by the way? Also, the imagery, being a family, like, no, we need to show up to church so that the people in the community believe everything's okay. It's like, I'm sorry, you're worried about the people in the community and you go to church. Only one thing can be true there that makes logical sense, and that's that you don't believe in God at all, but you want to keep up the image of someone who does. Because if you're a disaster and your family is falling apart and you're regularly just going off the rails with whatever your vice and like bad habits are, but you're like, the community will think poorly of me, they can tell. Yeah, what about God? What about the guy who sees everything? You think he's like, well, at least this person who neglects their children and drinks like a fish showed up to the celebration of me this week. Never mind that their kids are doing heroin on a staircase 3 miles from their home. At least they came and sang the hymns. It's never made sense to me. But I forgot how ritualistic it was. And this was a Catholic wedding, which I'll say, as much as I forgot the ritualism, as soon as I found out it was at a Catholic church, I was like, oh God, it's going to be so long. Because they are. And it's because they got to talk about God so much in the Catholic church. We got a Catholic official running your wedding. He's like, yeah, this is with church weddings. It's like, yeah, we're happy for you guys, but we're here for God. And look, will I ever get married? Who knows? Probably not. Maybe not. Maybe. Life's crazy and there's so much time. There's still so much time. If I'm spending, because let's be clear, I don't have a family savings account that's just waiting for me to get hitched. Also, if I find out my mom's sitting on like 50 grand that she's like, I squirreled this aside for your eventual wedding, I'm going to lose my mind. I'll be like, why wouldn't you just pay for my fucking college? But that's not going to happen. I'm getting mad at a made up scenario. I'm paying for my wedding. If I'm spending tens of thousands of dollars, which I assume I'm spending, and that's not even leaning into like what could be the most, like if I just like vision board, no holds barred, like let yourself loose on like what would be your dream wedding, which I don't even fucking know what that looks like. I'm not one of those women who has a Pinterest board of everything planned out. I haven't actively thought about my wedding other than how can I make sure that all of the bridesmaids' dresses are hideous enough that I really stand out as the beautiful one among my friends. And how do I make the cuts? How do you cut? You can't have that many bridesmaids, but like, whatever. If I'm spending tens of thousands of dollars and then you're going to be like, what this really is about is Jesus? Absolutely not. This is my wedding. This is about me. This is about me and my love and the person I'm here with. It's about them too. This is about us. Cool. Love who you love. God be with whatever. Peace be with you. Whatever the fuck. This, and I've been to multiple weddings, not just Catholic, but they're like all different Christians where they're like, I went to a wedding once where the priest or preacher, pastor, I don't know what the fuck kind of Christianity it was or what they called him, but he's like, it's all of our responsibility. Everyone here at this wedding, in this church, we have to work together to make sure that this couple stays together and stays on the path to Jesus. And it's like, dude, I can't even get my laundry done. You want me to worry about this couple's marriage and them staying on a path to Jesus? I just – feel like, first of all, marriage is don't want to say outdated, but like really the ceremonial aspect of it, when you like in the old like traditional weddings, it's like this passing of a woman as if she's a piece of property, which first of all, fuck you. Absolutely not. Who's walking me down? Who's giving me away? Me. I'm giving me away. Like, what do you, this whole like, here, take her, she's yours. Like a woman's just this fucking like, thank God there's a new man who's going to live longer to take care of my needs is wild. But like, at the end of the day, you're binding yourself to another human, probably legally, for tax breaks. Good move. I've heard some people say it's actually worse. Shouldn't it be just like about the love that you have for each other? Like, do we need to bring in... Also, I hadn't been to a Catholic church since... Not church. Wedding since my mom got remarried, where I spent the whole wedding hoping they were going to do the thing, which I'm now realizing I don't think they ever do. Who wrote this into a movie? If anyone here has any qualms about this marriage, has anything to say about this couple, speak now or forever hold your peace. Not once have I ever heard anyone say that. Because who in their right mind, first of all, would be like, I have a few thoughts. Second of all, no, fuck you. We're getting married. It's done. But like, that's how I spent my mom's whole wedding, was like, when they say that, it's time for a filibuster. When she was marrying my stepdad, I was like, I just got to make it to the part where they go, if anyone has anything to say, and then we're golden. Then it's, I mean, I don't know what I thought would happen, by the way. I would dishevel their marriage, which is, they're still married, so probably not. And then what? My mom would be so distraught by the end of her second potential marriage that she would build a time machine and go back and everything would be okay and none of it would have happened. No. But this, like, I don't know. What I do know what I was saying. The deacon was like, when they go back and they do their, I don't know if it's in the vows or something, or like, I don't think that Catholics even let you do your own vows. Like, no, you're going to say what we tell you to say. But then he like makes you swear that you're going to have children and raise them in the Catholic Church, which it's like, that's a lot of fucking pressure, man. We're still getting to the I do. Could we not jump ahead? But I don't know. All that to say that like, let's fucking cut to the chase on weddings. We're here for the reception. We're here for the crab cakes. Everyone's here to get a little tiny meatball, have a few drinks, black out on a dance floor. I think every wedding should have a live band instead of a DJ. And I think, frankly, there needs to be someone auditing these playlists. I think we're leaving these up to a singular choice, and that's just never going to mingle well with a mixed group of people. And I think that maybe is something that wedding planners should take into account, that maybe that should be a separate position of a playlist curator or a double checker, or like, can we get some demographics on a wedding and go like, well, typically I'm seeing that you have people of this age, but it's like, stop. Look, yeah, have a couple of songs for grandma and then sit grandma down and turn on the trap rap. We came here to party, you know, like, I don't need Frank Sinatra all night. I don't need to do the Virginia Shuffle at 11 a.m., p.m., a.m. I stayed up all night. I did drugs. This is a wedding. But that also, I say that as someone who desperately needs that if I ever have a wedding, a party. I can't make my own playlist. No one wants to go. I want to, yeah, you want to come to my New Year's Eve party and then I'm just crying to a song about dead dogs by Chris Stapleton? Like, nobody needs that. That's whatever. Also, we had a methed out chauffeur. It was the wildest thing. We got a car service to pick us up, and so we land, Nate calls. This is the whole story. I spent so much time droning on, and surely everyone is tuned out by now. Why am I doing this? So we got a car service. We have a number of a guy to call when we land, and he'll pick us up. We call, and the guy's like, hey, go to this exit. I couldn't make it because of a situation, but don't worry, I sent someone else. And as a joke, I said, oh no, what if he sent his drugged out cousin Ed or something who's just going to show up in a Geo Metro, cracked out of his mind, and be like, get in, we're going to the top of the mountain. And sure enough, as we're waiting by the curb, a Chevy Equinox, is that what it was? By the way, wild that there's a gym called Equinox that is one of the nicest gyms in the country. And then there's a car called a Chevy Equinox, which is a fine car. It's a mid-level CUV. You're a mom in a middle income, the lower end of an upper income. You got to run around soccer practice. Cool. Great. You're a car service. Maybe fine. It's a great economy choice. I'm not a car snob. I drive a Honda. The problem is this Chevy Equinox starts to pull up. And look, I don't know an Equinox from a fucking Tahoe. All right. Like, I'm like looking for some type of SUV. And there's a man with his jaw swinging like a pendulum in the front of this Equinox. And I literally leaned over to Nate and was like, well, this cannot possibly be our driver. And then he starts pointing because Nate had been like, oh, I'll be wearing this. And then he also was like, I'm in a green. Nate, by the way, goes, I'm in a green puffy coat and my girlfriend, she's blonde. You can't miss her. What the fuck does that mean? Is my hair standing? What do you mean you can't miss me? Like I'm the only blonde on the planet? And my hair's not electric blonde. I was like, am I on fire? Why can I not be? You can't miss her. And now he's typing on the screen behind the thing. It's because you're so beautiful. Yeah, right. I'm sure that's what it was. She'll look like someone who's probably related to you if you're currently on meth, whoever you are. This guy, it like literally, I was like, oh, my joke has come to life. There was crumbs all over his dashboard. It was covered in like fast food trash. There's an old dog in the front, which I don't have a problem with a dog. I wish every driver had a dog. But it's kind of like, oh, you're like also like, you didn't mention you had a dog. Frankly, I feel bad for the dog. This man was out of his mind. He starts wildly pointing from the car at Nate. It's you. And then he stops the car, gets out. He's like, Nate. And he's like, yeah. And he's like, oh, I hope you don't mind dogs in the car. And it's like, well, it's a little late if we did, but that was fine. We get in. It's just a disaster. And this guy immediately starts just rambling at like a methed out level of she's like, yeah, sorry, I thought I was in the wrong place, but I was in the right place, but I looked at the number and it was the wrong number, and I'm not usually on this side of town, but so-and-so called me because he said he wasn't available. It's just like nonstop. He even said like, and I'll say one more thing and then I'll quit talking your ear off. Never did he quit talking. He was like, we're driving and he's like, yeah, well, you know, sometimes I'm up here, I work for this guy who owned the company or whatever. He's like, I drive around people who are on workman's comp. I used to work for Uber, and we're like, wait, why don't you work for Uber anymore? And then he's like, oh, well, you know, a couple months ago, I was down somewhere by Red Rocks and I did an illegal U-turn. I got pulled over and then I got a ticket, and I was fully on board. As someone who drove for Uber and Lyft, I was like, oh, okay, that's probably where the story ends. And he's like, yeah. And then, you know, 2 months later, I got in an accident where he like tried to exit. He explained that he was trying to exit the highway. By the way, the whole time he's doing this, he keeps explaining things. He keeps drifting in and out of lanes and just jerking the wheel. Scariest thing I've ever seen. And for anyone who has not ridden in a car with me, you should know I am, without question, one of the worst passengers in a car when it comes to being a nervous passenger. I don't like it. I don't like that I'm like that. I don't know if I was trampled in a horse and carriage accident in a past life or died in a Model A. I'm afraid of everything in cars. And People who drive me as a passenger hate it. I'm not like that as a driver. I'm a fine driver. I don't like it as a passenger. It, by the way, never helps when someone's like, you can't stop. You got to stop doing that. That makes it worse. And so it's like this endless cycle of like, I'm never going to be a good passenger. So I'm trying to like look down and be like, haha, yeah, cool story. He said he fully hit a guardrail. He tried to exit and there was a guardrail there. He's like, I was taking my time instead of crossing all the lanes. And you hit a wall and he spun out, and it's just like, we're in a car. It was so bad. We're in a car with you, and your instinct is, let me tell you all of the things I've done wrong while driving people. And not only that, he's like, yeah, it was, I was up in an area. It happened up in this mountain area. It's actually right where I'm taking you. And it was at that moment, Nate and I synced up our brains and we're like, we got to find a way to get out of here early. So we faked that we were meeting people for dinner and got dropped off in the middle of Denver. And I was like, we'll figure it out later. Look, your body, your choice. You want to do meth, do meth. Get a job where people's life isn't in your hands. It's also astounding that like that's a big thing truck drivers do is meth. And it's like, you're operating a huge vehicle. What the fuck are you doing? We did make it in one piece. I don't know. That's actually the worst Uber driver story I've ever had. Like, I take enough cars, you'd think I'd have a lot, but I don't. Do you? You could send yours to ffswithjms@gmail.com. Listen, this feels like it was one long ramble, and that's okay. That's what I do. I would be doing this alone if the camera wasn't on. We said that last week. I'll say it every week. It'll never be true. We're going to take a break, and then we'll come back and watch some videos, and that's all. And we're back. And it's everyone's favorite part of the episode. Something where there's structure and I stop going off on tangents that confuse people. Before we go into our fun videos or terrible videos or horrible videos, send videos to ffswithjms@gmail.com. And I'll talk about that in a second. This, you may have noticed in the first half, for those of you watching on YouTube. For those of you only listening, thank you for your listenership. Please leave a rating and review wherever you're listening. But know that you can also go watch on YouTube and see my dear friend, mascot of FFS, Moki. Moki, say hello to the people. She has nothing to say to you. Moki is my dog. She's a rescue from China. I got her in 2019 of October. No further questions about whether or not she may have brought COVID over and been responsible for a world pandemic. She's the best. She's my best friend. She loves bones and she hates travel, which is something we don't have in common. So she'll be joining us as much as she wants on the couch. And you can see her beautiful face all over my Instagram stories at JMS Comedy. And we're going to go. First up is a remix of a video from the recent Miss Universe competition. We're going to watch it, and then we're going to talk about it. So it's basically just the Miss Universe contestants introducing themselves, which, by the way, I didn't know. Whatever. We'll get it. Here's a clip. If you haven't picked up on this by now, there's a theme to this remixed video. And the theme is, what the fuck is Miss France saying? This is horrifying. First of all, I didn't know. I guess I've never watched Miss Universe. I thought I had. I don't remember ever watching anything where, like, I don't remember in Miss America people coming out and being like, North Dakota! Like, it's like, why are we shouting where we're from? We can read. This has to be so fucking mortifying. This is the pinnacle of everything that this woman has worked for. All of these women on this stage have spent years learning pageantry. There's so much, like, political ass kissing to it from what I've heard. I'm not a pageant person, but I've heard it's a lot of fucking sucking up to the right people and impressing the judges. And it's sort of this whole community, not to mention the fact that you have to just be a certain level of hot, which that's not hard. I don't feel bad for you to like, oh, you were born hot. Oh God, what a fucking terrible thing. But you know that these fucking women are starving themselves and look in the mirror every day and they're like, something that, like, that level of hot and trying to achieve that level of hot, which I truly cannot even imagine attempting. What a fucking nightmare. I mean, what a gift to be extremely hot, but also to live a life where something out of place completely wrecks you in a world where things are constantly out of place. Hell. I like to take the approach of assume everything's out of place, and if something's in place, it's a win. Australia! She sounds like a goose. This is all this woman will be remembered for. That's fucked up. I want to go back really quick, because the focus of this video and what has been going viral is obviously Miss France squawking like an abused goat. Nobody's talking about the fact that Miss Denmark seems like she is here against her will. I was gonna say, if I knew nothing of Danish culture, which I do know nothing of Danish culture, her demeanor would lead me to believe that Denmark has been forced into this competition against their will for some sort of global funding, for some sort of country something. Like, it seems like she has the expression of someone who's like, I cannot believe we still do this as women. This is beneath me. Fuck all of you. I want to go home to Denmark. I mean, she's the only one with sleeves. That seems like a fucking statement. Maybe that's not true. There's Miss Ecuador. It truly seems like they found Miss Denmark in a hot topic, and they're like, hey, you're good looking and from Denmark. We don't have anyone from your country. Would you come or we're going to kill your family? She seems so upset, but also, I guess that's not the point of this video. The Costa Rica lady, the fucking... There's a lot of... I don't want to say they're leaning into their accents, because they're not. They just have accents. But in my mind, as someone who likes to try to do voices, and like when I like try to do another language, try to pick up on that accent, because that's just what I do. I don't know. The France thing, it's like maybe at this point just change it to France. Maybe it's not France anymore. Maybe we drop the sophistication. That would have just been worse. She literally, like, I don't even hear the R. It's just like, imagine your whole, like, she spent time constructing a speech. I don't know if they have a talent, but maybe they have, like, God, I hope she had a talent. I hope it wasn't talking. It clearly wasn't. I hope it wasn't singing. It just blew out her fucking vocal cords. The good news is no one really cares what any of those women have to say. We're not here to hear you. Just sit there and look pretty. Someone's going to fucking be so pissed I said that. Just what a nightmare. That woman is... to compete in something that is like showing of your elegance and beauty, and you're like, to even get to Miss Universe, what an honor. And then to have your achievement reduced to you honking in a microphone the moment you introduce yourself on behalf of your entire nation. Anyways, I want to announce my formal campaign to represent the United States of America in Miss Universe next year. Please support me by going to my website and purchasing merch to help me pay for my new face and body and outfit and personality. Okay, up next, this is fucking disgusting. I don't even want to look at this picture. Let me just say this about the clips that you're going to see on this show. Nate very graciously does a lot of work looking for fun clips, funny shit, funny photos. And I hate a lot of them. I hate them in my soul. I hate this. There's a formerly, by the way. Okay, so formerly locked room in our Airbnb. This is a tweet that contains 2 guns, an erotic painting, and a typewriter whose keys are entirely made out of teeth. Enter photo of a typewriter with teeth instead of keys and a follow-up saying, we're going to die here, aren't we? First of all, this tweet was in 2019. Has anyone heard from this woman? Her name is blurred out. Second of all, and I think more important, the lesson here is, don't go in the fucking locked room. It's locked for a reason. That's, fuck you. I have an Airbnb. I'm letting strangers stay in my house. I'm going to purposely lock things in a room that are going to scare the shit out of you, so you stop going through my shit. Yeah, I don't know. Go to a fucking hotel. Sorry, people have haunted shit in their houses. Was I supposed to take the side of the poor Airbnb? You're in a stranger's home. Now, I don't have things to the level of a typewriter. I mean, that's fucking sick. That's like Saw level shit. But also, it's kind of funny if they like just made that and like that's like to test people if they're unlocking it. Or that seems like this is such a bizarre item to have that it seems like a prank where you're finding out if people will go into locked places. Who's in the wrong here? I don't know. You're allowed to own guns. You're allowed to lock rooms. I do want to know where those teeth came from. Where do you get so many fucking teeth? And also, how do you know? What if you like went to use the typewriter and it was just little teeth emojis every time you hit it? You're like, well, how do you know what letter's what? And it's not. It's just wingdings, but with teeth. Look, if you haven't learned this by now as an Airbnb user, you're almost always going to be disappointed. One time, I got what I thought was a quaint Airbnb in Paris. It like looked cute in the pictures. There was a view. And I was like, oh, this will be like a cute little studio. It was a toilet with a bed in it. I'm not exaggerating. It was a closet with a toilet and a bed. I was like, these were quarters where they kept people during the revolution or something. What the fuck is this? But at least it was in a dangerous area of the city. Airbnb. You don't have enough money to travel. You shouldn't be here. Okay, the next clip that we're going to watch. You don't really see as much. It's more the buildup of what you think you're going to see, which maybe is the point of clips, and that's why I hate clips. These are two parasailers. Yeah. So, if you saw there on the screen, it points to a horde? I don't know what do you call a group of jellyfish? That's not a flock, a murder, a burn. It should be called a sting of jellyfish that whoever is driving them is like landing them in. Here's the thing. You don't see the end, which is probably for the best. Like, was this a prank where they're like, we're going to pretend to land you there and scare you and lift you up? Which, fuck you. If you're the fucking parasail guy, you're like, yeah, let's go to the shark-infested waters, pretend we're going to land them. Let's go to the fucking jellyfish. But all you do see at the end is the guy to the left of the man holding the camera's nuts sort of like skim. And if he's going nut first, like into a pile of jellyfish, there's not enough piss in the world. That's good. I mean, I've never been stung by a jellyfish. I imagine it. Have you been stung by a jellyfish? Nate's never been stung either. I hear it hurts. I can only imagine. It's so much worse. Well, they don't show it.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's all you see. So, are they dead? I once heard a story from my stepmom about some girl who, and this was my stepmom's reasoning for she never swims in water where she can't see the bottom, which is like, yeah, just say you don't want to go in the lake, bitch. I don't need a fucking horror story about why you can just not want to swim. I don't need the backstory. She said she grew up with someone who went swimming in a lake and they came up out of the water and unknowingly came up underneath a Portuguese man of war. And I don't know if you're familiar with the jellyfish community. I said man of war. It's a man of war. But I think when I heard that as a kid, and I've still held that in my heart, it seemed like the war part was important. They're blind. That's the whole story. They came up under a Portuguese man of war and they are blind for the rest of their life. Which it's like, yeah, just tell me not to get in the water. I don't know. But also parasailing in general, like what is this gene? What gene is it that makes people like, hey, let me do things that are fucking stupid? Your instincts as a human in your biology should be to survive at all costs. That's like a normal human instinct. We're getting dragged in the air behind planes. Behind planes. Well, behind boats. Fuck, I hope you get your balls stung off. You're an idiot. All right. And we'll close with a light, happy video that I relate to deeply. You think I care? I don't care anymore.
Quit hitting me.
I've lost my mind.
Quit hitting me.
Give a fuck. Give a fuck.
Cool, you don't need to give a fuck. That's cool, I got video proof of you doing this. You're crazy, bro. You're crazy. Let me leave. You have me blocked in. Let me leave. You're kidnapping me. Let me leave. Leave me alone.
I want to say a few things about this video. First of all, is it fake? Show us where she actually keyed the car. Maybe it's not. Is this a woman in distress? Obviously, I think I'll say the thing I think it's, excuse me. I will say the thing that I think is on most of our mind, which is, what the fuck did this guy do? That this woman is so insane, she's keying his car in front of him. Also, amateur move. You block him in and then you key his car? Fuck you. Like, he obviously did something to drive her insane. I'm not blocking you in. I'm running my car into yours. Are you out of your leaving a key? I would, like, she's also, like, smiling. I don't know if she actually has snapped or if she's just, like, they think this is funny and she's a bad actress. Not a good look for Calvin Klein, who's just fully wrapped on the sweatshirt. But this is I'm sorry. If you're going to go crazy, go crazy. And maybe that's not the angle I should take. But rarely have I encountered, when I get more information, a woman who went crazy that wasn't gaslit, cheated on, regularly just made to feel a certain way that will drive you crazy. I love when someone's like, they just went crazy. Oh, out of nowhere, they snapped. That person would be they would be in a home, or you don't care enough to like get them psychological help. They just fucking did a complete 180 and started beating the shit out of you for no reason. They keyed your car for just one day and you thought like, what a crazy bitch. You didn't think something's medically wrong with them. I should help them out. Fuck you. You're an asshole. I thought she could have had a little more fun with the keying. And I say like, why just key the car? Go full Carrie Underwood. Let's bash in the windshield. Slit the tires. What are you doing? Also, we saw the way her car was parked in front of his, and then there was just a gap of lawn on the other side of it. Go around her, you fucking pussy. Like, what do you... She's so crazy. There's like a whole empty parking lot. Drive around. I want to know what this man did to this woman who was like, I will key your car on camera. Because I bet it was not nice. I bet he cheated on her. And you just shouldn't do that. I think keying the car is, I don't know. You're right, Moki. I could have had better energy. I think the moral of the story is, don't key the car. Put sugar in the gas tank. Ruin the car. Ruin his life. You want to really get to a guy? Steal his dog. Steal his grandma. Moki doesn't think that this is funny. And on that note, I will sign off and remind you to keep learning French on your Duolingo and, you know, maybe seek psychological counseling if you feel the need to inflict vandalism on someone's vehicle. I have nothing else to say to you. I'll be just leaving Grand Rapids by the time you guys hear this. No. When does this come out? I'll be headed to Grand Rapids. I don't know when my own podcast comes out. I'll be in Grand Rapids this weekend, January 12th through the 14th. And you can also catch me at the Comedy Store doing my new show, Joke Revival. We've got awesome comedians on it. Steph Tolev, Fahim Anwar, Jamar Neighbors, Simon Gibson, Dana Moon. We got another special guest coming. And by special guest, do I mean someone I haven't booked? Maybe. But they'll be great. And it's going to be a fun one. And that's where we all take old joke notebooks and we go over our old jokes. We'll make fun of them. We'll try to redo them, whatever. And then I will be in New Smyrna Beach, February 4th and 5th, 3rd and 4th, whatever that Friday and Saturday are, at Madcaps Comedy Club and at Grand Comedy Club with my good friend Laura Bites, February 10th and 11th. And you can see all 3 of the Slobs. That's my other podcast. Check it out if you haven't. It's called Slobs at the Houston Riot Comedy Festival, March 23rd to 26th. And hopefully I'll add some more shows between now and then. But also I'll be in Seattle for one night only, April 15th. And I'm going to have some friends joining me on the show soon. We're going to get into some weird stuff. Hit me up at ffswithjms@gmail.com. Tell me what you're liking, what you're loving. What do you want more of? What do you want less of? Send me stories. Send me dumb videos. Send me money for my Miss Universe journey. Please. I want to make an emotional background video for my Miss Universe. You know, I've always loved the universe. I'm not going to do it now. I should. That would have been a great segue, but I'm not. I ruined it. We're wrapping up. I'm being yelled at. I have to go. Bye.